agreement for each utility company. You just create one application, one agreement, and you can use it towards separate use cases. The next one is forward payment. As I mentioned, payment going from one sender to multiple recipients. If you see the sender's visibility, he's going to actually see all these 3 payments. When he goes to his PayPal account and see, okay, what exactly happened on that day, he's going to know, okay, I paid X $10, Y $40, and Z is 50. So he's going to have that visibility in his PayPal, PayPal account. Now, multi-checkout would be a good use case if you guys open up a marketplace and have other people come in who wants to do business. This would be a good example. Now, this is the one I was talking about, chain payments. If you notice that what's happening is, the sender has this visibility to the primary receiver, right? And let's assume that you guys are API caller. You guys are none of these. You just created the application and you just facilitate the payments. Let's assume a good example would be, online travel agency, right? Which is the most famous online booking agency like Orbitz in the U.S. Make My Trip? Right, so Make My Trip, right? So let's assume you guys build that application, right? And then you are facilitating the payment. Now if you notice that I, as sender, is going to make one payment of $100 to the primary recipient. Now, what happens is that, let's assume that that primary recipient is MakeMyTrip.com, right? And he has, $40 going to the airline and maybe $50 going to the hotel. I know that number does not make sense these days because it might be $500 per night. But it's a use case, right? So if you notice that the customer, the sender S, does not know how much money were exchanged between a primary and the secondary recipients. All he sees is when he goes to his PayPal account, he's going to see, okay, I made a payment to this guy in the middle for $100. Now, what he did with the money, if he wants to give it away for charity or if he wants to give it away for some commission, it's up to him. It's his relationship with the end recipient. Now, you could be one of those R's on the secondary side and say, hey, you know what, I'm going to facilitate your payment. I'm going to provide you a full-time solution, but I want a commission. Every time there is a payment, I want 5% of it. And that money could be yours every time there is a payment. Now, this multiple recipient does not have to be 2 person. It could be still one secondary receiver. It goes up all the way to like 6 or 7 at this point. So the next one is you can also combine them, which is much more interesting because it's not about pre-approval payments, which is simple money. No, you can do pre-approved payments with chain payments, right? So you might sign up to the customer for pre-approval payments, but the actual, at the time of payment, you can make it a chain payment. So a good example is again, utility billing, right? So you want your customers to be able to pay first of every month, whatever that bill is. And then you could be one of those R's on the right-hand side, right? You say, hey, you know what, I'm going to manage your entire application, and I'm going to make sure that the payments are done. And you'll be the caller, and then the money will go from you to the actual utility company who's going to be the merchant of record, and then you take a share behind the scenes. Simple, but a use case for you guys to know. Now, the only thing is that you can also do that with parallel payments, right? You can sign a pre-approval agreement and use parallel payments at the time of payment. Now, what we don't allow is combining these. We just don't allow combining, parallel the chain because it's like, it's going to keep going. So we have to have limitations for now, but hopefully in the future we'll try to see how we can address that issue. Few use cases. Social networking, right? A lot of emphasis. You guys know every second person is either on doing tweets or have a Facebook account, passing information. Huge business opportunity. The good thing about these companies are they're also open platforms. They're saying, hey, developer, if you want to use Facebook, that's fine. Build up your application. I think there's a vetting process that you have to go through. And then once you vet it, your application looks good, you are on Facebook as a tool that is available for any social networking user on it. A good example would be Zynga. Zynga is one of those companies who build this game called Farmville. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that, but if you go to Facebook, you will see all these small little games which are targeted to social network audience. Same concept, right? You guys can create a good game or any utility tool and then launch it on Facebook or Twitter, and people can start using it, and you can probably associate a small little fee every time a person using it. Good way to monetize it. Gaming is the same thing, as I mentioned. Social networking and gaming kind of are going hand in hand these days. But you can actually create an application, let's say, for Sony PlayStation. I think they're going to probably launch the platform as well. Gaming platform, as I mentioned, you can do this too, and you can be behind the scene taking commissions. Disbursement. You can also do disbursement. Every time somebody hits or picks some business, you pay commission to them. One of these use cases that I know of, I guess in my tab here, this is right here, is this distributed referral system, right? So you notice a lot of times people go on the internet to do shopping, just do benchmarking analysis. Okay, I want to buy a Dell netbook. So like dieselamerica.com, and there are a lot of other websites where you actually go and start shopping. Okay, what exactly? And list you all the different merchants who's actually offering the Dell netbook with a competitive price. And you would know, okay, I just realized that Best Buy is going to give me the best deal. So you end up going to Best Buy from there, and you just enter that whatever that token is, and then you get that deal. Now, you are the guy who's actually running these sort of RSS feeds to bring in all that information. So what you could say is that, hey, listen, Best Buy, I want to send this customer to you. There's already an identifier, which is that code that they need to enter at the time of checkout. But at the same time, I will need also part of the commission, because I gave you that business. So if that business translates to be, if it's a real conversion that a person actually ends up going to Best Buy and buying that item, then you should get paid. A good, way to make money is split chain payment again. As a customer, I would pay Best Buy, but behind the scene, Best Buy and say, hey, thanks for redirecting this customer to me. Here's your share, 5%, 2%. That's an agreement that you guys can have with this merchant. Payment rent. Again, a lot of emphasis that today, online rental business is booming. As a matter of fact, I was thinking, why is it not even, I'm sure that there might be some cities where they're considering, but a lot of people are not having time, especially in cities like Bangalore, who's going to write checks to their rents, right? It's just cumbersome, it's time consuming, I don't know how typically it works. But what if you guys create an application and go to the top builders and say, hey, if you, or maybe the property management company, and say, listen, I'm going to build up an entire solution for you so that you don't have to run around chasing people to collect rents. So this application, people can sign up for a monthly rent payment system, and then, but as a small fee, I want like 1% of that. A lot of people, the property management company would definitely take that offer. And the reason they would take that offer is because it's a hassle to collect rents, right? If you can make that a small little app which collects rent, whether through your cell phone, it works online, regardless of the interface, why not? It would definitely be a good little use case to try out in this Indian market. Now, let me quickly show you how this works, right? So what happens is that, let's take this rental application use case, right? So I actually go on this rental app that one of you guys have built, and say, okay, it's time for me to pay the rent. I go on this website. So rental application, which one of you guys built, will be the API call, right? So they're going to make this API call, and then the request, you see, they're going to pass all these different parameters, their signature, how much is the amount, if it's a chain payment or it's a parallel payment or if it's just a single payment. We pass all that information. And then in return, PayPal will give you, in response, they'll give you a unique token which we refer as a pay key. And once you get that pay key, you will actually redirect the sender to PayPal.com. So he's going to go to PayPal.com, log in. It's just a simple 3-page flow. Once he logs in, he's going to see, okay, this is the guy who you're paying, or you confirm that. And what sort of funding instrument you want to use. You want to use a credit card, or you want to use your balance, your bank, whatever. You select one of those and you say pay now, then you land on the confirmation page, and then the money actually moves from the actual sender to that app, the rental company, and they can split it between whoever they want in the behind the scenes. And then you will redirect back to the rental application side. So you just left that for a brief moment to approve that payment, and you came back. That's assumed, and obviously we follow that up with the notification. So the sender gets a notification, the rental app gets a notification. They also get something called IPN, which is an instant payment notification. So if you provide a URL in the request, then in the response,